4 really good quality matches that challenged us, and everybody played, and Brazil's a great country. And what was really special about this trip is the Brazil people remind me a lot of Nebraska. It's all about the people. They're very connected. They're very friendly. They love the people from Nebraska, and they love food, and they love sports. And everybody's playing a sport somewhere, whether it's on the beach or at these clubs that they go to. And I mean, it's everything. And I saw some incredible sports. A sport called futsal, which is, if you read the book Blink, they talk about why Brazil's so good in soccer, and these guys play in these mini courts. So it's very fast. They don't play with as many people. Saw that, but they're playing in the sand, they're playing it on courts, they're playing it on just asphalt. It's everywhere. You just drive and you just see these futsal courts going on in the middle of cities. They just put down some fake grass and they're playing. So Brazilians love sports, and it's a great country, and they play good volleyball. How's that for a geography lesson?
Did you come back thinking that this turned out to be a great year for the lineup for you to have a trip?
Yes, it was perfect for us. The great thing was, we can kind of play 2 teams, because we took 14 players. Sometimes you don't get to take everybody, so it was great. It's just kind of, we had one team one night, and then we switched setters and another team play, and we kind of mixed them up, and so it was very productive in that way.
What was more valuable for your team, just the competition you saw, or just the time off the court with the performance bonds?
I think this team's already pretty tight. I just think, first of all, being together for that long, you continue to build that. And we were in beautiful places, which help. There's no distractions, but just, Brazil plays a different style. We actually played international rules, so we played some matches where we played their rules, so our middles had to serve. Our middles had to play defense. We couldn't, a couple games I went 6 subs, that's all you get, and it's only one time in and one spot. So, I can remember the down ref coming over, and he's like counting 5, 6, because I think he thinks I'm gonna go through it. And so that was, really good, because they've got to do everything, and it prepares them for internationally. And but I think the main thing was, just being together and building relationships, and they did a fantastic job of that.
You had a lot of close sets and matches there towards the end. How did you feel like your team performed under pressure?
We won a lot of close games. I think we only lost one close deuce game. So we won all the other ones. So I saw him step up. We were down, I think 24-21 in a game, and we made 3 unreal plays to tie it up and then won it. And that was, they were big time plays. So it's good to see your team step up on the road like that and be able to win those. And then you just see it deflated. The Brazil teams can get deflated pretty quickly. They're very emotional. They're playing either on fire or they're kind of moping around. And so we had a good learning lesson for us. We always want to try to be consistent in what we're doing, whether we're ahead or behind. So that was cool. Until we played the U19 team, that team impressed me the most, because they played more like we do here in America, emotionally and mindset-wise.
This isn't your first international trip. What sort of things typically pay off during the fall that you can kind of correlate to this international trip?
Well, first of all, we got basically an extra month of training. Okay, so that right there is a huge thing. Second thing is, we now know our captains. We now know what they need to work on between now and then. When we start in August. And I just think our level of confidence is higher because we've played more, and this is a young group, so it's a very young group. So just having that game experience will, I think we've couple of our international trips. I mean, we won national championships after those trips, so these trips are definitely worth it.
John, some of those matches are on YouTube, and I don't know if you were aware of some of the numbers of people watching you guys play down in South America. Were you surprised at all? Some people back here were in the thousands watching you guys on a YouTube stream with one camera.
Yeah, I saw one of the matches over 15,000. What surprised me more was Jordan Larson yesterday's video was 550,000 views. That was pretty impressive. So, but no, I mean, we were getting all kinds of emails. How do we watch? How do we watch? And so Spencer Wickens on our GA, he was the one in charge of that, and Brazil helped out with it. So it was. I don't know what the quality was like, but it's cool that people could follow along and share along and kind of experience that, because it is different than playing NCAA volleyball. Warm-ups are different, the introductions are different, you exchange gifts, so there's a lot of cool things that happen internationally when you play. I got this gift.
What kind of jersey is that?
I don't know. Whatever this brand is, but this is one of their.
Is it a volleyball jersey or?
Yeah, it's a volleyball jersey. No, it just says Brazil. So no. Yeah.
Well, now, you guys take some time off. How do you manage the rest of the summer, knowing, I'm guessing there's a little bit of fatigue from your team?
They were in the weight room this morning. So number one thing, you get back to work right away, because otherwise the jet lag and all that will mess with you. And I was on a 12:01 last night. I was talking to recruits. So, and at 8 this morning. So no rest for the weary.
Past you hear that in Brazil, volleyball is a big deal and volleyball is good. What did you see or hear during the trip on or off the court that showed you that up front?
I'll tell you, I'll give you a great example. So we played the military team. It's a select team, and basically they recruit players to play, and they're top four in the Superliga, which is the pro league. And their setter is 40 years old. And I remember her from Mexico when I took a USA team to Juarez, Mexico. Actually, Chris Thomas's wife was the captain of that team. So I want to say it was 2007, 8, somewhere in there. And maybe it was earlier than that. But I met her on that trip, and we recognized each other. I was watching her the night before because they played the younger setter, and they were losing. So to Rice, they brought her in, and then it was 3-0. Over like that. And I told our setters as we were standing there warming up, I go, watch her. She is an elite international setter. And anyway, after the match, we beat them, and which was a great match. And I had her talk to our team about why she's continuing to play at 40 years old. And how is she taking care of herself? You know, and we got a great example with Jordan now. I mean, Jordan's 36 and still playing at the highest level. And she gave a great Brazilian-themed talk with passion about how much she loves volleyball, what's it done for her. She's got 2 daughters that are playing, and she still has that passion and never lose it. And, you know, so it was just a great example for our players to see the passion that Brazil has for sport, and specifically volleyball.
What kind of impact has Jordan had? She talked about how she talked with film over with you guys in Brazil, and what kind of impact do you expect her to have in kind of her limited role over the next few months?
Yeah, well, that's a great thing with Zoom and being able to talk wherever we are in the world. I mean, she may be in Korea next week, but she's already building the relationship with our outside hitters she watches the video, gives them feedback, and like she mentioned in her press conference, with volumetrics now, you can do a lot of stuff on there. You can draw stuff, write stuff. She can say, hey, look at this play here. Check out your footwork. And so you can get a lot of coaching done without actually being physically there. And Jordan's a master at that because she's been using this volumetrics for years. So it's just right now it's about building the relationships that she started before she left. And and she's going to work hard at that. She's been she has been on all of, our sessions that we've had, and we'll continue to have those with her, and she'll be here in September.
Were you one of the only, she mentioned that she had other opportunities, were you one of the few that offered her kind of that flexibility of still being able to play while having an impact as a coach?
Well, Jordan and I have been talking for the last couple of years. I mean, she was, going to be done after the last Olympics, but they keep paying her a lot of money to play. So, and she feels good. I mean, we've talked a lot about that, and we've always been talking about that she wanted to coach here someday, and I told her I would do everything possible to make that happen. And so, it's great when we got somebody that's playing at the highest level in the top league in the world, trying to play for the Olympics, and then she's in our gym. I mean, can you imagine? It'd be, like football team had Tom Brady out here, or some of those guys. So, or, Michael Jordan's hanging out with our basketball team and helping those guys. So it's just, she has a different presence and a different feel and a different look, how she sees things, and she's a great communicator. She's going to be a great coach.
Sometimes there are things in life that we really want and it can't happen, but what did that mean to you to know that this is something you've wanted forever and you actually are making it happen?
To me, the greatest reward in coaching for me, love to win, love to do all that, but the greatest reward is when I see our players go into coaching or come back here and coach. And so Jordan's, it's been Kelly, it's been Kayla, it's been Danny, Lindsay, Laura Pilikowski was our strength coach for several years. So to me, that is the validation for everything that I try to do in coaching. That validates it for me that we're doing the right things, that they want to come back and be a part of this and put up with me some days. And Jordan had a great line. She said she wants to help the next generation of volleyball players. And we can use that in recruiting because we're recruiting the next generation of the volleyball players in this country for the Olympics and the national team. And a lot of these kids aspire to that. And the fact that she wants to give back, and again, it's the 40-year-old setter I just talked about. They still have that passion and that fire, and it's inspiring to be around people like that have been doing it so long, and they still have that. And I still feel like I have it as a coach. So it's fun to be around passion and people that want to be great. And I think so anyway, it validates, and it's the biggest reward for me.
John, could you just talk about maybe the infrastructure you've built around yourself in the program? I mean, bringing in Jordan, joins like a really talented young staff, all these top recruiting classes coming in, just about maybe the infrastructure you've built.
Well, about 2012, 13, I just figured out, I used to try to do everything by myself, and I just figured out it's getting way more too complicated coaching these days. So I decided to build a performance team around our team, and so I wanted to get the best people. And if you study successful people, they all have great people around them. I asked Say Roberto, who coaches the women's team, who's won several gold medals in Brazil. I asked his guys down there, some of his guys that work with him, I said, what makes him so great? He surrounds himself with great people. That's the first thing they all said. He surrounds himself with great people. And they have a huge team that all those teams have about 8 or 9 people with them. And so I've just tried to do that and get great people. And so we all do it together, and they help me, I help them, and Jordan's just the next one.
What were the negotiations like with her, and why now did it finally work out for her to come back?
I think Jordan decided she wants to settle in Nebraska, and so she ended up, this last summer, she kind of established her roots back here again. She's got a lot of family and friends here. So once that happened, that's when we kind of started talking, like, okay, if she's going to be in Lincoln and Nebraska when she is not playing somewhere, then maybe this is a good time. And then, of course, the NCAA passed she was going to volunteer, but now she can get paid, which makes it nice.
She mentioned she was in the gym last fall to kind of gear up for early. Did that kind of help and like see that she was ready for
totally, because I mean, she's had a challenging year. I mean, just her lifestyle is challenging in a lot of ways. People don't really understand that, how hard that is. But I saw how happy she was in our gym, and I think before she left, I said, "You feel good here, don't you?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, we got to make this happen." And that's when I said, "I think this is what's coming down the pipe," and so let's keep talking, and worked out. So I think it's great.
Coach, you've spoken to in the past what kind of opportunity Nebraska can present to women athletes. I'm sure you've heard by now Jordy Ball is going to be joining the softball team. Can you kind of talk about what that might mean for the other sports, your team included?
Well, it's been a hell of a week for especially women's sports. And, I think Trev is trying to change our culture here and get back to maybe what we used to do and try to be the best at everything. And he's raised the bar. And now you see Jordy Ball come back. You see Jordan Larson come back. You see, a lot of great recruits are coming here, and people want to be here. And I think we're making a commitment that we want to be the best, and you do that through facilities and support, and now we're seeing the results of it. So it's pretty cool. And Merritt Beeson could have gone anywhere, and just hearing her talk on our trip about why she wanted to come to Nebraska. I mean, those are all the things that validate all the things that we're trying to do. And you could ask her about it. She does a really good job of communicating, how all that worked for her and what she sees in Nebraska. And now I can go share that we started recruiting at 12:01 last night with the 2025s, and we're able to share some of those things, Must be pretty cool. Jordan Larson wants to be back here, so I think great things are happening. We got a lot of momentum, and I don't know, once you're a Husker, you're always a Husker. So I'd like to say, I think Jordy Ball has always been a Husker.
What went into determining the two captains that you chose for this season?
So every year we always struggle with captains and leadership, and since we had such a young team, we did several leadership classes throughout the spring. We asked, and we said, it's volunteer if you want to go. Everybody showed up. Then at one night we said, okay, if you want to be a captain, get up and talk. Everybody got up and talked. So we continued that theme on this trip, and we did the same thing, and then Buzios, which is our wind down, we went through another one. Okay, who really feels like they're ready to be captain? Now, knowing all this group and knowing what it's going to take, and 6 of them got up and talked, and then we let the team in individual meetings tell us who they thought should be captain, and it was pretty clear cut. The two that had a pretty distinct advantage over everybody else. The good news was all the other ones got a lot of consideration, and so the message to them is, you may not be the captain this year, but you're showing that you've got leadership, which is great, but maybe down the road that will happen, and keep working at it. So it's I think it was an awesome process, and I was blown away by the job they did getting up and talking about how they felt about that. And I think that's one of our jobs as coaches is to they're just not volleyball players. We're creating people that are going to raise families, go in the workforce, play professionally if they want to, and we want them to have leadership qualities. And so we're pretty fired up about how all this has gone, and we're working at it, because I think they don't really develop leaders anymore coming up through the way our teams are formed, and club teams and parents coaching and all that. For example, we used to fight it out. That's how we develop leadership on the playground or in the field. We make up the rules and pick teams and develop leadership.
The Larson said that Merritt and Lexi come in, so I assume they're the captains. What about them stands out that kind of put them in that position and got them to support their teammates?
Oh, you got to ask them that. all 6 that got up, to me, sold me, but somehow their teammates wanted them to be captains. But I would like you to ask them how they were told, because it was a first we came up with.
Well, what do you like about what they bring to the leadership structure of the team?
Well, Lexi is kind of the world revolves around her on our team. Even though she's quiet, she's not outspoken, but I don't know, she's kind of the center of everything going on. And Merritt just has great qualities. She wants to be a third grade teacher, so you know how to take care of people. And they all come to her when something's not right. She's just like the team mom, I guess, in a way. And she's built great relationships, even though she's been here a short time. So I think if you want to be a good third grade teacher, it's not about you. It's about those kids, and for her, it's about her teammates. But ask them how they found out they were captains. See, it will be a good story. Amy will probably put it in her headline.
When the season's over in December, coaches have to do a lot of things, but what do you want to look at Jordan and say, this is an area where Jordan Larson made us better, or a certain player that she made better?
I think Jordan can help us with two things. What she sees, it can help them with what they see, and then mindset. One thing about Jordan is Jordan's played on the best teams and with the best players in the world, and there's a certain expectation and mindset to get to that level. And I think she can help our players with that in a different way than I can.
When you told your players that Jordan was going to be coaching them, how did they react, and how have these recruits that you've been talking to for a few hours, how have they reacted to that?
Well, a couple of our players cried, and then they said they didn't believe it. So that's how our team, and then the recruits are just kind of like, they're in shock, so anyway, it's a big deal, and again, you got to put yourself in their shoes. They're 17, 18, 16 years old, and here's the greatest player ever in this country is talking to you or going to coach you, and it's pretty intimidating in a way. So I think they're in awe.
Is Jordan able to call recruits yet, or should she take a recruiting test?
Yeah, no, you don't have to do all that now, but she can talk. Yeah.
How do you come out of spring and training before Brazil, and Brazil feeling about your setting?
We started every match, and those two were dead even. And that was communicated to them as no decisions have been made. They're going to have to keep battling out. So both of them did really, really well. So I couldn't tell if we were starting tomorrow who would be starting.
What's the plan for Maggie going forward with First Allegiance?
Maggie is going to lift with our team, but basketball is training for their international trip. So she's going to practice with them a lot in July, I think, which will be fine. She just got great work for a month with us, a month with basketball, and then she's going to, our strength coach will manage her. And they work together, but I think she's going to work out, she told me, with our team, because I don't know how hard basketball is going right now, and so what their program is, getting ready to go. This is actually one of her few, might be her first weight training block that she's going to get for about 5 weeks.